Having joined Chasm recently is actually kind of central to the story. I've been following the 5G lab for several years, but I joined formally just a few months ago. And so I joined the lab, and oh my goodness, I'm supposed to understand all of the startup programs that have gone through the 5G Open Innovation Lab. And there's this wall behind me, if you can see it, wrong hand. Below all these logos are every single logo of every startup that's been through the program is on the wall. And there's like 150 of them now. And so now I'm supposed to understand what all these do. So how do I go about do that? Stare at the wall? Pull out Google? Well, the good news is Chasm has a thing called the portal, which I'd like to share right now. Make sure I'm rocking and rolling here. There we go. I'm gonna bring up the portal. So rather than look at a wall of logos, I can actually look at the portal, and I can scroll through and check out each and every startup that's been through the program. Again, there's 150. They're all arranged in alphabetical order here. And if I want to learn more about one of the startups, I can take a look at it. Now, conveniently, since it's alphabetical, AI squared, let's look at AI squared really quick. Here we are. I want to know more about AI squared, and so I can see, oh wow, here's the market, here's the solution. There may be this, what's going on in the lab. There are tabs here for media, podcasts, or videos. There's an engagement tracker for activities here in the lab. There's a file folder. You could put a pitch deck or a product documentation or whatever you want in here. So this is a really nice little form factor of information. It's fairly easy to consume one at a time. That can give you an idea of what is it, what do they do, and where are they going. Now that's all really well and great when you're talking about one, but what about 150? So if I wanted to research all 150, I could sit here and read through all of this, but of course then I would end up conflating everything and not remembering and which one was which and whatever, and it's not really meaningful. And I could probably get creative with with Google and ChatGPT and so forth and kind of figure things out, but that again is going to take a long time. And honestly, I just have some point questions that I want to ask. So if I have a specific question about what is effectively my set of enterprise data here. So inside the portal, this is what I would call semi-public information. There's some information that's public for everybody. But there's some semi-sensitive stuff in here, which is not intended for the public. You actually have to sign into this thing. It needs credentials. So what if I'm looking for something specific in my enterprise data here? I'm looking at a needle in a haystack scenario. It's even here. An example might be when I first started. I said, well, I see that we're building a product that might leverage an SLM. Of the alumni, is there who works with SLMs, who supports SLMs? What is that? How do I even approach this? Even with the portal here, going through 150 might be kind of hard. So is there a better way? And the answer, of course, is yes. We deployed an AI squared chatbot. The chatbot is down. Hopefully, you can see my mouse. It's down the lower right. It's set up like any other chatbot that you might have encountered, but this one's special because this one's going to take a look at our enterprise data. And a little segue on the chatbot, by the way. The button here and the pop-up. It for us in our web page, it is effectively it's something like 10 lines of JavaScript, and it took us less than a minute to put this in. Now we had to go back and take like 1 or 2 minutes more later to change one of the parameters to make sure to point it to the right place. But the point is, we were actually just on a call and we did it in like a minute. It's ridiculously easy, and this is a recurring theme that I'll come back to. But it looks like a chatbot, and it takes an AI prompt, and using my scenario about the SLM when I first started, I was like, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to figure this out? It would have been nice on that day, because we did not have this that day, to be able to say something like, well, gosh, of the Chasm startups, are there and this is a really simple prompt, by the way, are there any um, small language model solutions? Now, you could say to yourself, my goodness, Steve, that is a very simple query, but I use it because it was a real query. It was a real situation that I was faced with, and it did actually take me a little bit to figure out, to be honest with you. Whereas right now we just put in this little question, and the query has gone against my again, this is my enterprise data. If I would have said what are the SLM solutions to Google or some other platform, I would have gotten how many answers. But this is very, very specific to my environment, and it looks like I've got two answers here. One in which is RC small. In fact, the first one is exactly what I'm looking for. I only have one other answer here, Liquid AI, which is a great solution, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for. And bam, just like that, 150 down to 1. And this is I mean, I can't think of a more perfect situation. It's ridiculously simple. It is game changing. And I use the very, very simple example here simply because it was so game changing. And that's it. I hesitate to stop here, but it's really that simple. 150 to 1 in seconds. Now, I mentioned that the JavaScript took us a couple of minutes, but it's actually, the story gets better than that. When we first started this effort, we talked about, hey, would we be interested in doing this? And yeah, let's get this set up. And so we got my lead engineer involved, and we said, okay, what all is involved? So there's the JavaScript, took us a minute, and then we needed to point the data sources. So this is the hardest part, is like to make sure that AI Squared has all of the relevant enterprise data that you're dealing with. And for us, it was actually fairly easy to package up. We package it up, we send out credentials, and I think between the lead engineer and me, collectively, we put in 1 hour to get this thing up. Now, I don't mean to say that we're done. Because there is work to be done to make it better and to fine tune it, make sure it's learning all the appropriate things and so forth. But the point was that we actually had something to test against after an hour's worth of work, and this is really, really, really important. The other piece of it was we did not want to deploy our own infrastructure. We did, in fact, and I don't know if we told you this, Argu, but we looked at rolling our own very early in the process. Could we roll our own, and what would be involved in that? And just from the people, process, tools perspective, it was onerous. There's no way our little unit is going to take this on. So we needed to be able to do it without an infrastructure build, and AI Squared is absolutely perfect for us. It was an hour of work to get started, no infrastructure. And we're done. This is a best case scenario. For me as a user, this is a best case scenario.